RectAdmin page components like list, edit, or show call the data provider themselves, but it sometimes happens that you have to call the data provider in a specific way, either on mount or upon a user event. For this example, I have a dashboard that lists the pending orders for my e-commerce admin. And for each pending order, I have a button that allows me to change the status of the order and to cancel it. And when it does that, it calls the data provider to update the order and refresh the page. How can I develop this page using RectAdmin? In the dashboard component here, I'm calling the useDataProvider hook from RectAdmin, and it returns the data provider that you've passed to the admin component. So it's available everywhere in a RectAdmin application. Now I can call dataProvider.getList, and since it's an asynchronous function, the best way to call it is by using React Query. So I'm using React Query's useQuery hook, and it takes a query key and a query function and returns an object that can be destructured like this. It returns either a data or an error, or if it's pending, is pending. And the query function here is dataProvider.getList with the usual getList parameters, pagination, sort, and filter. So the result is the getList result or undefined if it's pending or if there's an error. If I check if it's a valid response, then TypeScript knows that data at that time is defined. It's the getList result, and getList returns an object with a data and a total element, so I can get the data element. TypeScript knows that it's an error of orders because I have passed here the order type to getList, which is a generic function, and I can iterate over this array of orders to display one list item per row. So that's what displays this list here. And for the button, the order cancel button, I'm using the same useDataProvider hook to get the data provider instance, and I'm calling it this time in a mutation, calling React Query's useMutation function, which returns an object with a mutate function that I can call in an event handler, in this case the onClick handler of the icon button. And useMutation takes a mutation function. In this case, it's a dataProvider.update that passes the new data and it's the status that changes. So to call the data provider, just call useDataProvider and use React Query. But it's a bit cumbersome to repeat the query key, the query function, and RectAdmin can do better than that. In fact, RectAdmin provides for each data provider method a specific hook. So for dataProvider.getList, RectAdmin will have a useGetList hook. And useGetList has the same syntax as the dataProvider.getList, except now it directly returns the result of useGetList, so I don't have to get the data.data, and I don't need the useDataProvider hook anymore. So it's the same result, except the code is a bit simpler. The same for the mutation here. Instead of calling useMutation with dataProvider.update, I can call useUpdate. And useUpdate from RectAdmin will take the same parameters, except the third function is an options function, and that's where I'm going to pass the on success and on error side effects. useUpdate will return an array with a callback first. I can call update, and this is this callback that I'm going to call here directly, and it's also returning as a second argument the state of the call to data provider. So I will destructure is pending and use this is pending here in the disabled state of the button. So I'm saving, and now when I click on the button, you can see that it properly cancels the button and dispatches the side effect, including the unsuccess side effect here, which was passed by the order console button, and it's the refetch callback from useGetList. So that's how you use the data provider in RectAdmin, either by calling useDataProvider or, and that's the recommended way, by calling the specific methods for each data provider. useGetList, which calls dataprovider.getList on mount, or here to do an update, useUpdate. And useUpdate, I passed here the parameters at definition time, but you can also pass them at call time. It's more or less the same, and you don't need the data provider here. If you need to go further, RectAdmin has a complete documentation about how you query the API with the data provider query hooks and mutations. So feel free to explore the documentation. That's it for today. So useGetList, useGet1, useGetMany, etc. to fetch data provider on mount. useUpdate, useDelete to fetch the data provider on an event handler. Until next time, happy coding!